Iain from RTO here. Welcome to Thursday on the channel. If you've just first time you've watched, welcome. If you like what you see, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and if you think it's really good, subscribe. So today is Thursday, which means it's Battle of the Debuts, where we take two bands' first albums, similar sort of genre. And today we're doing a bit of prog, and we're going to look at the first two albums of two pioneers of the prog movement in this country, well, UK. We're looking at King Crimson and Yes. So, don't have to tell too much about King Crimson and Yes. Great bands, two of the big prog bands. Both have made some fantastic albums. Both still, well, Yes is still definitely going. Been touring the UK lately. King Crimson, I'm sure they'll be doing something. I can't see them giving up, but who knows. So let's go back to when it all started for them. And as ever, when we do this, we always do the album that came out first. So in this instance it is this one, the self-titled Yes album. It was released on the 25th of July 1969. It's produced by Paul Clay and Yes. Playing on this album was John Anderson on the lead vocals and incidental percussion, Peter Banks on the guitars and backing vocals, Chris Squire on bass and backing vocals, Tony Kaye on organ and piano, Bill Bruford on drums, vibraphone. So, first track on here is a brilliant track, one of my favourite tracks, Beyond and Before. That great little bit of opening from Peter Banks. You could tell where this band were going to go, and it's just one of them great tracks. Then we get a cover of the Byrds track I See You. It's quite a jazzy version of this. It's not a bad cover, I don't mind that track at all. Then we get Yesterday and Today. Really nice song this is. Nice guitar work here from Peter Banks and John Anderson, of course. What a voice. Really, really good. Then we get Looking Around. Already we're getting that distinctive sound. Some great keyboards here from Tony Kaye. Bill Bruford's drumming on this. It's brilliant. Excellent track. Harold Land. This is a mixture of pop and psychedelia. It's a really good track. Great bass line from Chris Squire. Absolutely brilliant track. Then we get another cover version. We get Beatles' Every Little Thing. It's not a bad version, I must admit. Then we get Sweetness. This isn't too bad. I'd say this is one of the weaker tracks on this album, but it doesn't make it a bad one. Then we get Survival. Nice bass line this is, but very, very pastiche song with some nice delicate keyboard from Tony Kaye. Everydays. This is a proper early prog track without a doubt. Really good. I love this. Bill Bruford's drumming is just fantastic on this. Great way to end an album. I think this is a solid album, and you've got them elements of what was to come from this band. It's a solid album. It's an album that I play quite a lot. A lot of people forget about this one, but I can't, because I think without this album you wouldn't have had the rest, and you wouldn't have had some other great prog bands. So that's what I think. So what do the critics think? Well, the album was actually had a positive reception. from two American newspapers, believe it or not. Scott Campbell of the Arizona Republic wrote, "Yes, are a promising set that deliver on being solid and together at nearly all times, with strong, competent vocals from Anderson." And David Wagner of the Post-Crescent agreed with Campbell. Yes, we're a very promising group. He recognised a lot of the jab swingness on the album, and particularly on the two cover fans. What else have we got? Rolling Stone, there we go. Rolling Stone said this is what they're writing, that it was the kind of album that sometimes insinuates itself into your routine with a totally unexpected thrust of musical power. That's not bad for them, is it? So let's have a look. All Music have given it a 3-star. The Encyclopedia of Popular Music give it 3-star. Rolling Stone gave it favourable. I can't see where it got in the charts, unfortunately. It couldn't have done much because I couldn't find anything. If anyone knows where it got to in the charts, please put it in the comments below, because I'm intrigued. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. So for song quality, okay, it's got 2 covers. A lot of bands at the time on their debut around this era did put some covers on, but the songs that they actually did themselves are really good. Just shows that, you know, what they became. So I'm going to give song quality a 4 out of 5. Production, great production. It sounds like it's just plug in and go. This is 1969, remember, and I think it really works. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 because it just sounds really good. Even today, when you listen to it today, it doesn't sound dated. Reception. I didn't know if it charted or not. They're very favourable with the critics, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 for that one. Cover design. There's a couple of covers. There's this one, of course, and then there's the one with the band. It's pretty good. Both of them are pretty good. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. So for Yes by Yes, gives us a grand total of 16 out of 20. Okay then, next contender please. And of course it is King Crimson's In the Court of the Kingson King, which was released on the 10th of October 1969. So I just turned 3 when this came out. It was on Island Records, and this album is said to be one of the most influential of the progressive rock genre. Who is on this? Well, we've got Greg Lake on lead vocals, bass guitar, Robert Fripp, of course, on electric and acoustic guitars, Iain MacDonald on saxophone, flute, clarinet, bass clarinet, mellotron, harpsichord, piano, organ, vibraphone, Michael Giles on the drums, and the production was done by the band itself. So what is, and Robin Thompson was the engineer. So what's on this great album? Opens up with the 21st Century Schizoid Man. Wow, what a track. Mind-blowing. Iain MacDonald's sax is brilliant. Some great drumming here from Michael Giles. Greg Lake's vocals are just superb. And of course, Mr. Fripp's guitar playing. It's just out of this world, wasn't it? Great track. one of the best tracks of that time. Then we get I Talk to the Wind. This is a quite gentle track. Some lovely flute here from Iain MacDonald, and a great vocal from Greg. Great stuff. Really good track. Like that track a lot. Then we get the classic Epitaph. That combination of that mellotron and the acoustic guitar. It's just a classic, isn't it? I love the mellotron. I think it's a fantastic instrument, and it is the instrument of prog. Then the next track, which was side 2, was Moonchild. Just blows you away. Pioneering sounds and guitars. Everyone sorted after this sound, and this was the benchmark song, I think, for prog. Fantastic. Then of course we get the classic In the Court of the Crimson King, one of the most important songs in prog. It just sounds brilliant. Acoustic sounds, great vocal from Greg, and it's just that mellotron that gives it that extra edge. I love this album. It's certainly the origins of proper progressive rock. They certainly set down a big benchmark for everyone else to follow. It's a truly an amazing piece of work, and it was far ahead of its time. Well, that's what I think, but let's see what the critics thought. This album had mixed reactions. Village Voice critic Robert Christgall called the album, it's shit. I don't know why, because it's brilliant. John Morland of Rolling Stone said that King Crimson had combined aspects of many musical forms to create a surreal work of force and originality. The album has since attained classic status with AllMusic, praising it, if somewhat not somehow prophetic. Sorry, I can't. Still struggle with words. Prophetic. King Crimson projected a darker and edgier brand of post-psychedelic rock. In its original review by Lindsay Planet, and calling it the definitive and daring in its current review, Classic Rock reviews King Crimson's as an album that blew the doors off music convention. So All About Jazz gave it 5 stars, AllMusic 5 stars, Classic Rock gave it, good, they've got loads here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Encyclopedia Popular Music gave it 5. Mojo even gave it 5. How was that? Music Hound 4. Pitchfork 10 out of 10. The Rolling Stone Album Guide gave it 3 and a bit, where you don't expect them to do much because they just don't know nothing about music. The Village Voice gave it a D+. How do you do in the charts? Did well all over the place. Australia number 7, Canada 27, UK number 5, and US 28. Well, it's gone gold in the UK, gold in America. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. Song quality, superb songs, brilliantly written, brilliantly played, 5 out of 5. Production, fantastic production on this again, 1969, really good. So again, 5 out of 5. Reception, apart from a certain person that thought it was a load of SH1T, everyone loved it. I know the fans loved it. I mean, the Americans couldn't cope with it. It was a little bit too ahead of their time. But here in the UK, it was loved. And even in Australia, they got it. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 for reception. Cover design. It's an iconic cover. Stands out. But I'm not a great fan of it, actually. But on the whole, it is iconic and you know which album it is. So I'm going to give it a cover design of 4 out of 5. So for King Crimson's In the Court of the Crimson King, gives it a total of a 19 out of 20. It's the biggest mark I've given. So it's obviously that out of the two that In the Court of the Crimson King wins today, but I think without both of these bands we wouldn't have had what Genesis did, Marillion. You wouldn't have had them bands. You wouldn't have probably had Porcupine Tree. You wouldn't have had Arena. You wouldn't have had any of these bands without these two great bands starting off how they did. They're both great in their own rights, but King Crimson are the granddaddies of prog. Okay, that's all for this week on Battle of the Debuts. What do you think of these albums? You know what you need to do, just pop it in the comments below. Doesn't matter, you know, just put it on if you're watching it on from Twitter or Facebook. If you've even got it from Instagram, put it in the comments on the little pictures of today's thing, and then I'll tell you who wins. Now, last week we had Bon Jovi and White Lion. A lot of people that made comments sort of like both, but they went with Bon Jovi. Okay then, I'll be back later, and we're keeping on the prog sort of day. The album covers is Camel's studio albums, so join me for that later. Bye for now.